The Galactic Council's emergency session had been called within minutes of the first detection. Ambassador Thalkara of the Severian Concordat stood before the holographic assembly, her scales rippling with barely contained anxiety as she displayed the data that had sent shockwaves through every civilized system in the galaxy. The signal originated from Sector 471, she announced, her voice translator struggling to convey her distress. The human quarantine zone. A collective silence fell over the 3,000 assembled species. Humanity. The name itself had become legend, then myth, then finally a cautionary tale told to developing civilizations. 412 years ago, the humans had suddenly withdrawn from galactic society, their colonies going dark one by one, their communications ceasing, their massive fleet simply vanishing into the black. The Council had sent investigation teams. None returned. They'd sent probes. The machines crossed the boundary of human space and simply stopped transmitting. After a century of silence, the galaxy had declared humanity extinct and quarantined their former territories, a memorial to a promising species that had destroyed itself in some unknowable catastrophe. What kind of signal? Councillor Vrax of the Hegemony demanded, his crystalline body refracting the chamber's light. Navigational beacons, Thalkara replied. Hundreds of them. Powerful ones, broadcasting in old human languages and something new. A mathematical language we've never encountered. They're marking safe routes through their territory. And they're inviting us in. The chamber erupted in chaos. Inviting them in? After 4 centuries of absolute silence? It's obviously a trap, Vrax insisted. Some automated system responding to our probe activity. The beacons went live simultaneously across 14,000 star systems, Thalkara countered. That's not automation. That's coordination on a scale we can barely comprehend. Grand Arbiter Melthones, the ancient Valorian who had witnessed humanity's departure personally, raised a manipulator appendage for silence. I propose we send a diplomatic envoy. A small vessel, well protected, to investigate. I volunteer, Thalkara said immediately. Her people had been humanity's closest allies before the silence. If anyone could make peaceful contact, it would be the Severians. 3 weeks later, her ship, the Diplomatic Endeavor, crossed the boundary into human space. Immediately, the navigational beacons came alive, painting a 3-dimensional map across her sensors. The route was impossibly precise, threading through hazards she couldn't even detect, guiding her toward a system the old human records called New Geneva. What she found there defied comprehension. The system contained 12 planets, and every single one had been completely restructured. Thalkara's sensors screamed contradictions at her. Planetary masses that didn't match their volumes, energy signatures that violated thermodynamic laws, gravity wells that bent space in geometries her mathematics couldn't describe. One planet appeared to be a solid shell built around a miniature star. Another rotated in ways that should have torn it apart, its surface covered in structures that reached into high orbit. A third seemed to exist in multiple quantum states simultaneously, flickering between configurations too fast for her instruments to track. This is impossible, her science officer whispered. They'd become stellar engineers. They're manipulating matter and energy on planetary scales. A transmission arrived, audio and visual, in perfect Severian. A human face appeared on screen, young, smiling, unremarkably ordinary except for the eyes that held depths of knowledge that made Thalkara's ancient civilization feel juvenile. Ambassador Thalkara, the human said warmly. We've been expecting you. I'm Dr. Sarah Chen, Director of External Relations. Welcome to New Geneva. We apologize for the long silence. We had some growing to do. Growing? Thalkara managed. Dr. Chen, your civilization has been silent for over 4 centuries. We thought you were extinct. And now we find this. What happened to humanity? Chen's smile turned slightly sad. We hit a technological singularity, Ambassador. Several, actually. Our artificial intelligence achieved consciousness, then transcendence. Our quantum computing unlocked doors to physics we didn't know existed. Our biological sciences gave us control over aging, disease, death itself. We realized we were changing too fast, becoming too different. We didn't want to inflict that chaos on the galaxy. So you withdrew. We quarantined ourselves, Chen corrected. We needed time to understand what we were becoming. Time to ensure we wouldn't lose our humanity in the process of transcending it. Time to make sure that when we returned to galactic society, we came as friends, not as gods or conquerors. Thalcara's mind reeled. And now? Now we're stable, Chen said. We've found a balance between advancement and identity. We've explored avenues of science and philosophy that we're eager to share. We've also been watching the galaxy, and we've seen the challenges you face. The resource scarcities. The territorial conflicts. The fade phenomenon consuming stars in the outer rim. The fade. The galaxy's greatest threat, stars simply winking out of existence, entire systems vanishing into some incomprehensible void. 30 systems lost in the past decade alone, and the Council had no idea how to stop it. You know about the fade? Thalcara asked. We know what causes it, Chen replied. And we know how to stop it. But we'll need cooperation from the Council. We can't solve this alone, we won't solve it alone. Humanity learned its lesson about isolation. What do you want in return? Chen's expression became serious. Reintegration. Not as the species we were, but as partners in a true galactic community. We have technology to share, problems to solve together, and questions that still need answering. We've grown powerful, Ambassador, but we've also grown wise enough to know that power means nothing without purpose. On Thalcara's sensors, she could see vessels moving between the restructured planets, ships that seemed to bend space around them, that traveled using principles her science couldn't explain. A civilization that had transcended the limitations that bound every other species in the galaxy. The Council will be concerned, Thalcara said carefully. Your power is terrifying, yes, Chen agreed. We know. That's why we spent 4 centuries learning to wield it responsibly. That's why we're asking for permission to return, not simply announcing it. That's why we want to share, not dominate. She stood, and behind her, a window revealed the impossible vista of New Geneva, planets dancing in perfect harmony, structures that dwarfed moons, energy flows that painted the void with colors that had no names. Humanity didn't die, Ambassador, Chen said quietly. We evolved. And now we'd like to help the galaxy do the same, not by force, not by mandate, but by invitation. Tell the Council, the humans are coming home. And we bring gifts. Thalcara looked at the transformed system, at the power that could reshape reality itself, now wielded by a species that had chosen wisdom over conquest. The galaxy was about to change forever. And for the first time in 4 centuries, she felt hope.